ज्ञानाञ्जनाशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्ता स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। So thank you everyone for joining today on this auspicious occasion of Nrsimha Chaturdasi. Let's recite some prayers to Lord Nrisimha Dev. We can all recite. Ugram Veera Mahavishnu Jwalantam Sarvatomukham Nrsimham Bhishanam Bhadram Mrityur Namami Aham. Jai Nrsimha Shri Nrsimha Jai Jai Nrsimha Dev Prahladesha Jaya Padma Mukha Padma Brinda. So today is the auspicious appearance of Lord Nrisimha Dev. Today is also the auspicious disappearance of Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu is nothing but the demon that is residing within our heart. We have this prayer of Prahlad Maharaj, which comes in Canto 5, where Prahlad Maharaj is praying, "O my Lord Nrisimha Dev, with your nails and teeth which are just like thunderbolt, you destroy the Hiranyakashipu demon residing within my heart." Hiranya means gold, which means accumulation of money or greed. And Kashipu means bed, which may mean laziness. It also means lust. So this Hiranyakashipu demon of lust, anger, greed, pride, illusion, envy is residing within our hearts. So please, O Lord Nrisimha Dev, destroy these demoniac anarthas within my heart, these demoniac material desires for fruitive activities. Drive away my ignorance and make me fearless. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he's the Yuga avatar in Kali Yuga. He was very fond of hearing Prahlad Maharaj's pastimes. He would go to Tota Gopinath, and there with Gadadhar Pandit, he would spend hours and hours hearing about the pastimes of Prahlad Maharaj and Dhruva Maharaj. Many times Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he exhibited the form of Nrsimha Dev in his Leela. So we have the pastime of Chand Kazi. Chand Kazi, he was a Muslim minister, and he was stopping the devotees from doing Sankirtan, loud chanting on the streets, and he would also break their mridangas. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he got very angry at him, and he organized a Sankirtan party, and all these people, devotees, they were chanting Hare Krishna, and they were carrying torchlights, mashal, and they all were walking to the house of Chandkazi, and Chandkazi, he became very fearful. He was hiding in his house, he was not coming out. So hesitatingly he came out and he told Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that now I don't stop the devotees from doing Sankirtan, because the day I broke the mridanga, that night in my dream came a very fearful lion, and it was roaring very loudly, and his body was like that of a human being, his face was that of like a lion, and this lion jumped on my chest, and with nails, he placed his nails on my chest and told me that if I stop again devotees from doing Sankirtan or break any more mridangas, next time I will come and I will kill you. And he showed his chest with all the marks of the nails. So like that, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he appeared as Nrsimha Dev to reassure his devotees of protection. We also know that Advaita Acharya here in this picture, he was worshipping his Nrsimha Shila with tulsi leaf and Ganges water, and he was crying for the Lord to appear in Kali Yuga to guide the misguided living entities, and Lord appeared as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu hearing the prayers of Advaita Acharya. So Srila Prabhupada, he established the Nrsimha Dev deities in our temple for devotees purification and devotees protection, as well as to remove obstacles on the path of bhakti. Like we have in Brahma Samhita, we have a prayer, Yat pada pallava yugam vinidhaya kumbha dvandve pranama samaye saganadhi raja vignan vihantu malamasya jagatrayasya govindamadi purusham tam aham bhajami. So this prayer is saying that Ganesha derives its strength from removing obstacles from the lives of the people by taking shelter at the lotus feet of Lord Nrisimha Dev. So Lord Nrisimha Dev is the original Bhakti Vigna Vinayak. He removed obstacles from the path of the Bhakti. Now Srila Prabhupada in 1973, when he was very sick, he wrote a letter to all the temples and he said that you should do Nrsimha Aarti in the morning after Mangal Aarti as well as after Gaura Aarti in the evening. And Prabhupada was sick, so he said that all my disciples, they can pray for me. Lord, if you so desire, please cure our spiritual master so he can resume his services. So like that we can pray to the Lord. So in Mayapur temple, in Mayapur temple, there were a lot of dacoits who were attacking the temple with bombs. One devotee lost his legs in the bomb attack, and they also stole Srimati Radharani's deity. So then devotees, they installed this Nrsimha deity in the temple, and after that, there were no further disturbances. So this deity of Nrsimha Dev is actually very powerful, and there is a whole book that is published by Mayapur temple of the miracle pastimes associated with this deity. This deity has miraculously cured some devotees' cancer or their burn injuries or restored their eyesight, like that. So we can read at our time like how Nrsimha Dev reciprocates with his devotees. Nrsimha Dev is especially very dear to small children. So there is a pastime of a girl in South Africa. She was 5 years old. She was very much attached to Nrsimha Dev. One time she was playing with her ball, and her ball went onto the street, and she didn't see there was a truck coming on the other side, and she got hit with that truck, and she was thrown very far away. Her father was watching her from the house, and he fell unconscious seeing the girl. There was also a police car coming from the other side who saw this accident and immediately rushed the girl to the doctor, to the hospital. So in the hospital, the parents and this police, they were talking with the doctor as to what had happened. So this nurse, she brought the x-ray the doctor had ordered, and the doctor looked at the x-ray and he literally shouted at the nurse and he said, "Why have you brought the wrong x-ray? Is this time to be negligent?" The nurse said, no, it's the correct x-ray. So the doctor was amazed to see that there was not even a single bone that was broken. That was shown in the x-ray. No bone was broken. So after some time, this girl woke up and she narrated what actually happened. So this girl, when she was hit by the truck, she shouted the name of Lord Nrisimha Dev. She was so much attached to Nrisimha Dev that automatically she shouted the name of Lord Nrisimha Dev, and she said Nrisimha Dev came and captured her. And she is describing the beauty of Nrsimha Dev, how he was wearing a yellow dhoti, his hair were that like a lion, and his eyes were bloody red. And this, and she's saying that this Nrsimha Dev, he had claws which were very sharp, and his nails, cut me. His nails cut my skin. So Nrsimha Dev should cut his nails, like she was saying. So this doctor thought that this girl was hallucinating from this accident, but later on, if this is Indradumna Maharaj, he's narrating this pastime of this girl. He said that this doctor and the nurse who were operating on the girl, they later on they became devotees after they understood who that lion was that saved that girl. So like that, there are many such instances where Lord shows that if you are surrendered to me, I will protect you from all the difficulties. So let's dive into the pastime of Prahlad Nrsimha Dev. So this whole pastime is coming in Canto 7 of Srimad Bhagavatam. This pastime begins with, there is a conversation happening between Parikshit Maharaj and Shukdev Goswami. And Parikshit Maharaj is asking this question that the Lord is supposed to be equal to everyone. He is supposed to be impartial. So then why does Lord always favor the demigods? So to answer this question, Shukdev Goswami, he narrates another pastime, another conversation happening between Yudhishthir Maharaj and Narad Muni. And this is the time of Rajasuya Yagna. There is a Rajasuya Yagna happening of Yudhishthir Maharaj. And what happened is Shishupal, he became very envious of Krishna. He started blaspheming Krishna. And he exceeded his 100 counts of blasphemy. So then Krishna's Sudarshan Chakra beheaded Shishupal, and everybody saw that the soul of Shishupal merged into the body of Krishna. So Yudhishthir Maharaj, he was struck with wonder that this Shishupal is always blaspheming Krishna. Instead of being put into hell, he is being given Sayujya Mukti. How is that possible? So then Narad Muni says, well, whatever Krishna does is all auspicious. Somehow or other, if you remember Krishna, if you meditate on Krishna, you will be benefited. So this thinking of Krishna may be due to lusty desires or inimical feelings or affection. So he says this verse here. Narad Muni is saying that the gopis, out of their lusty desires, Kansa out of fear, and Shishupal and other kings out of envy, and Yadus out of their familial relationship, and Pandavas out of great affection, they have all received the mercy of Krishna. Like Kansa, he was always fearful of Krishna. 24 hours a day he was thinking of Krishna. Since the time he heard that the 8th child of Devaki is going to kill me, so he was sleeping, eating, walking, going here and there. He was always remembering Krishna, and he was seeing Krishna everywhere. So one servant brought him a glass of water, and this glass, it was a steel glass and it was sparkling and bright, and he thought that Krishna had come, seeing that glass of water. One servant brought a plate of different different cuisines and different colorful vegetable preparations, and he saw that lunch plate and he thought that Krishna had come. One time his 2 wives, Asti and Prapti, they came very beautifully dressed. And seeing them, he thought Krishna and Balram had come. So everywhere he was seeing Krishna. So he was very Krishna conscious, Kansa. So Narad Muni, he out of humility, he's saying that, oh, these enemies of Krishna, this Shishupal and Kansa, their minds are always absorbed in Krishna. Wish I could have such absorption like them. So out of humility, Narad Muni is saying that. But we know that, Kansa's thinking of Krishna is not considered bhakti, because according to Rupa Goswami, bhakti has to be anukulena Krishna anushilena. It has to be favorable. Means we should think of Krishna in a favorable way. But anyways, no matter how you think of Krishna, yena kena prakarena mana Krishna niveshyat. Somehow or other you think of Krishna and you will be benefited. So that's why all these demons are also getting liberation when being killed by Krishna. So whatever Krishna does is all auspicious. Even if Krishna gives suffering in our lives, sometimes when a child is sick, the mother gives the child some bitter medicine, right? The child does not like to take that bitter medicine, so the mother forces it upon the child. And the child thinks, oh, mother hates me. But that's the love of the mother, that the child, that she wants to give me, she wants the child to be cured, right? So in the same way, we also have a disease. We have the disease of forgetfulness of Krishna. We want to enjoy in this material world without Krishna. So Krishna gives suffering in our life to rectify our consciousness, to make us frustrated from this material world, that there is no enjoyment in this material world, so that we start to remember him. So that's also mercy of Krishna. So then Narad Muni told Yudhishthira Maharaj that these two cousins of yours, Shishupal and Dandavakra, they're actually Jay and Vijay from the spiritual world. So one time, four Kumaras, they wanted to see Lord Vishnu and they came to Vaikuntha. But Jay and Vijay, they were doorkeepers and they stopped the four Kumaras from entering. Now four Kumaras, they look like little children, but they are very advanced souls. So four Kumaras, they got angry at Jay and Vijay and they cursed them. Then they gave them two options. Either you take 7 birds as devotees or you take 3 birds as demons. So Jay and Vijay, they accepted to take 3 birds as demons because they quickly wanted to come back to their service in Vaikuntha. Also, they understood that the Lord's desire in his heart was to fight. He wanted to experience Vire Ras. So all this pastime was orchestrated so that the devotees of the Lord will come down to the material world, become demons and give a good fight to the Lord. So these Jay and Vijay, they came as demons for 3 birds. In Satyayug they came as Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyakashipu. In Tretayug they came as Ravan, Kumbhakaran, and in Dwaparayug they came as Shishupal and Dandavakra. And these 3 birds, which means 6 total, represents the 6 anarthas in our heart. So Hiranyakashipu represents the anartha of anger, and Hiranyaksha represents the anartha of greed. Ravan represents lust, Kumbhakaran, false ego, Shishupal, envy, and Dandavakra, pride. Also we know that Jay and Vijay come in Kali Yuga as well, in Chaitanya Leela. Jay and Vijay comes in Chaitanya Leela as Jagai and Madai. So now in Kali Yuga, when Krishna has come as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu does not kill demons. Instead, he kills the demoniac tendencies within our heart. So he made Jagai and Madai as pure devotees through the weapon of the holy name. And they used to chant 64 rounds of Hare Krishna mantra every single day. They became great devotees. Now, Srimad Bhagavatam, there are 10 subject matters that are discussed in Srimad Bhagavatam. Atra sargo visargascha sthanam poshanam utaya manvantre ishanu katha nirodha muktir ashraya. So this 7th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam deals with a topic called Uti. Uti means auspicious, inauspicious desires. So we see that here Hiranyakashipu has inauspicious desires. He does activities that are pratikul to bhakti, unfavorable to Krishna. And we have Prahlad Maharaj, he has Shubh Ichha, he has auspicious desires. So how did Hiranyakashipu get inauspicious desires? It all started with Jay and Vijay getting cursed by the 4 Kumaras. So Krishna is also telling us a lesson from this pastime that when devotees are displeased with us, when we hurt devotees, then when we commit Vaishnava Aparadh, then inauspicious material desires will emerge within our heart. And on the other hand, we see Prahlad Maharaj, he has auspicious desires. How is that? He got the mercy and blessings of Narad Muni. So, Chaitanya Charitamrita has this verse which says that Vaishnavera guna grahi na dikhai dosh, kaya mana vakya kare Vaishnav santosh. Which says that, all the offenses to Vaishnavas, they begin with us doing fault finding in that Vaishnav. So this verse is saying that we should accept good qualities in the devotee. We should ignore their bad qualities. A devotee is like a honeybee, always seeking for nectar in others, always looking at good qualities, not at all focusing on the bad qualities. And with Kaya Manya Vakya, which means with our body, mind and words, we should try to please the Vaishnavas. So Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he would say that, when faults in others misguide and delude you, have patience, introspect and find faults in yourself. Know that nobody else can harm you other than yourself. So when faults in others come into our mind, instead we should introspect and find faults in ourselves. So that's a lesson. Now Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu, they came in the family of Kashyap Muni and Diti. What happened was, one time Diti was filled with lust, and she approached her husband Kashyap Muni at a wrong time for conception. And that's why demons were born from her. So we can understand that the consciousness of the parents at the time of conception, they invite a particular type of soul to come into the womb of the mother. So Prabhupada says that the husband and wife should perform Garbhadan Sanskar, which means chanting 50 rounds of Hare Krishna mantra before attempting to conceive. And in that way, a spiritual soul will be attracted to the womb. So in this case, 2 demons were born, and Hiranyakashipu was creating a lot of havoc all over the world, and the Lord appeared as Varahadev to kill him. And we see that, at the death of Hiranyakashipu, his wives and his sons, they were very much lamenting, and Hiranyakashipu comes to console them. And Hiranyakashipu, he starts speaking philosophy from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2. And when we hear his explanation, we will think that a devotee is speaking. He was very good in his explanation. He's telling about the difference between body and soul, and that you should not lament for the body, and the soul will move on to another body based on their material desires. We should be equipoised. Don't waste time too much lamenting, because your death is also approaching. Like that, he was speaking very nice philosophy. However, he has no character. Hiranyakashipu is hypocritic. Because after speaking this high philosophy, what does Hiranyakashipu do? He is filled with anger for Lord Vishnu, and he wants to take revenge from him. He wants to sever his head and drink his blood. So he wants to become unconquerable. He become the supreme king of the whole world. So he goes to the forest to perform austerities. So when Hiranyakashipu is performing austerity, Brahma is disturbed. Demigods come to Brahma and say that, this Hiranyakashipu wants to occupy your post. Brahma is disturbed. So at that time, Narad Muni comes to Brahma. Narad Muni is the son of Brahma. He says, Father, you don't worry about it. I will take care of it. So Narad Muni, along with his friend Parvat Muni, they go to the place where Hiranyakashipu is doing austerity. In the form of little birds, they go and sit on a tree, and they start chanting the mantra, Om Namo Narayanaya, Om Namo Narayanaya. So Hiranyakashipu, he's doing austerity, and he's hearing this word Narayan, Narayan, and he's getting very agitated. He became full of vengeance, hearing the name of his enemy, Vishnu, Narayan, right? And he starts chasing those birds, and the birds flew away. So his austerity is broken now. Now Hiranyakashipu, he comes back home, that his austerity is broken. At his home, he has his wife Kayadu, who asks him, why you came back so fast? I thought you were doing austerity. So he's telling his wife all that happened with the 2 birds chanting Narayan, Narayan, and he was doing austerity. His austerity was broken. And as he was narrating this pastime, at that time he conceived Prahlad Maharaj in the womb of Kayadu. Means that unknowingly Hiranyakashipu, he performed Garbhadan Sanskar. He was chanting the name of Narayan when Prahlad Maharaj was conceived in the womb, and that's why the child became a great devotee. Now Kayadu was pregnant with Prahlad Maharaj, and Hiranyakashipu went to do his austerity. And these demigods, they were thinking that Hiranyakashipu is such a big demon, so definitely his child will also be a demon, so let us kill that child. And they were taking Kayadu away. But at that time, Narad Muni came and said, no, don't kill this child. This child is a big devotee. So then Narad Muni, he took Kayadu to his ashram, and he assured Kayadu that don't worry, your child will always remain safe. Right? And in the ashram, Kayadu asked Narad Muni that I don't want to deliver my child until my husband returns from austerity. Now Hiranyakashipu was doing austerity for 100 celestial years, which means 36,000 years. During all this time, Prahlad Maharaj was in the womb of Kayadu, in the ashram of Narad Muni. And every day in the ashram, Narad Muni was speaking Srimad Bhagavatam Katha. So Prahlad Maharaj in the womb of Kayadu was hearing Narad Muni every single day for so long of a time, and he was nicely getting trained in devotional service. So Prahlad, he developed so much attraction for Krishna while in the womb. So Prahlad also, he was not seeing Narad Muni, but he was hearing him, right? So in spiritual life, hearing is more important than seeing. So one time in Vrindavan, Sheshashai Vishnu, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was sitting and giving a class, and there were so many devotees sitting. Prabhupada was also sitting. And after some time, many devotees left to see sightseeing some deities. But Prabhupada kept sitting and hearing Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and he was very pleased. So when the name of Prabhupada came for initiation, he immediately agreed, yes, I have seen that this boy, he likes to hear, he doesn't go away. So like that, we can see the world properly by hearing first. This is called Shastra Chakshu, seeing through the eyes of scriptures. And Bhaktisiddhanta will say that, seeing the deity or seeing the dham without hearing is just an eye exercise, right? So Prahlad, hearing for a long time, he became a devotee. But we see Kayadu was also listening. She was also hearing from Narad Muni, but there was no transformation in Kayadu. Why? Because as she was hearing, she was preoccupied with the thoughts of her husband who was away for doing austerity, and she was concerned about the safety of her child. So although she was sitting in the Bhagavatam class, her mind was somewhere else. So anybody can be sitting in a class, but if your mind is somewhere else, then you are not really grasping any knowledge, right? You are where your mind is. So we see that in Kayadu there was no transformation. So same thing, Dhritarashtra, he also heard Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna also heard Bhagavad Gita. Therefore Arjuna, it was a complete transformation. At the end of Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna is saying, Karishye vachanam tava. I will follow your instructions, O Krishna. But Dhritarashtra, there was no transformation because he was not hearing Bhagavad Gita with proper motive, right? He was too much attached to his sons and he was concerned about the outcome of the battle, right? And he was not hearing Bhagavad Gita with an open mind for purification of the heart. So that is it. When we hear Bhagavatam, when we sit in a class, the main reason should be, the main motive should be my purification of the heart. Not just to get knowledge that, I can take notes, I can recite the same thing to others, telling them I also know something. That's not the point. The main point for hearing a Bhagavatam, hearing a class is purification of heart. So, Hiranyakashipu, he was doing tremendous austerity, 400 celestial years. His whole body was covered with an anthill, and he was worshipping Lord Brahma. So he was doing so much austerity that fire emanated from his head and everybody in the world was getting scorched. So Brahma came to see what he wants. So Hiranyakashipu, when he saw Brahma, he had tears in his eyes. And with folded hands, in a very humble mood, he started reciting prayers to Brahmaji, as if Brahma is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is all he is doing to trick Brahma to satisfy all his benedictions, whatever he wants. So Brahma said, okay, what do you want? So he says, the first thing he said was, make me immortal. But Brahmaji says, well, I can't give you something that I myself don't have. I am not immortal, so I cannot make you immortal. So then Hiranyakashipu, he came up with an exhaustive list of conditions so that he can escape death. He said that give me a benediction, let me not die from any living entity which is created by you. Let me not die in the day or the night, inside the house, outside the house, in the air, on the ground, not die by any weapon or human beings or animals or snake. And give me sole lordship over all the planet. Give me all mystic powers. Like that, he asked. So we see that, Hiranyakashipu is doing austerity, but at the end, his heart has not changed. Actually, austerity is meant to make us soft-hearted. So like we have comparing Hiranyakashipu's austerity to Dhruva's austerity. Dhruva Maharaj, he also performed austerities, intense austerity. But after 6 months, what happened? His heart was completely transformed. Why? Because Dhruva Maharaj, he was acting under the direction of his spiritual master, Narad Muni. And he was chanting the name of Vishnu, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And he was meditating on the beautiful form of the Lord. He was also in Vrindavan, Madhuvan area. He was worshipping the deity made from clay, like that. So he was worshipping Vishnu, and so that's why at the end of 6 months his heart was transformed. That when Vishnu came and asked, what do you want, Dhruva? And he says that I was doing all this austerity for some material things, but all these material things are like broken piece of glass. Now that I have seen you, you are the best Chintamani jewel. Seeing you, I'm so satisfied that I don't wish for anything else. So that is called transformation of the heart. And this happened because Dhruva Maharaj was worshipping Vishnu, but Hiranyakashipu, no transformation because he was worshipping demigods, Brahma. So that's why the Shastras say that even if we have material desires. Akama, sarvakam, mokshakam, udardi, tivrena bhakti yogena yajate purusham param. We should worship Krishna even if we have material desires. So, Hiranyakashipu, after he got all these benedictions from Brahma, he created terror all over the world. He conquered over heavens, demigods became homeless, he employed the demigods as servants in his kitchen to cut vegetables. And he reversed the law of karma. Whoever was doing pious activities, they would be punished. And who were doing impious activities, they will be awarded. So he reversed the law of karma. But Bhagavatam says that in spite of achieving the power to control all directions, in spite of enjoying so much sense gratification, Hiranyakashipu was still dissatisfied. Because instead of controlling his senses, he became a servant of his senses. So no matter how much opulence, how much power, control over others we get, we will still be dissatisfied. Right? Because our senses are not controlled. The only way that we can be satisfied is when we perform bhakti to Krishna ahetukya pratihata, unconditionally, uninterruptedly, then we'll be satisfied in our heart. Now, millionaire always wants to become a billionaire. There is no end to greed. So like that. So demigods, they were very afraid, and they finding no other shelter, they approached Lord Vishnu. And Lord Vishnu told them that, somebody who is envious of the demigods, envious of cows, brahmanas, and my devotees, he will soon be vanquished. Don't worry, when Hiranyakashipu troubles his son Prahlad Maharaj, who is a great devotee, I will myself come and kill Hiranyakashipu, despite of all the benedictions that Brahma has given him. So then we see that Hiranyakashipu, he had 4 sons. The best of the 4 sons was Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj, he was always absorbed in thoughts of Krishna, always meditating on Krishna. He is the Acharya of Smaranam. Smaranam means always remembering Krishna, remembering his name, his form, his qualities, and his pastimes.
Maybe we can all move forward. There is people coming.
So Prahlad Maharaj, he was always in ecstasy. Sometimes he was crying, sometimes he was laughing, sometimes he was very jubilant mood, dancing, singing very loudly. He was seeing Krishna everywhere. Because he was remembering Krishna, he would see Krishna everywhere. Now Hiranyakashipu, he wanted his son to be a demon like him. So he sent Prahlad Maharaj to the school of Shukracharya, where there were 2 teachers that were teaching all the demoniac kids, all demoniac principles. Sandai and Amarka were the teachers, and they were teaching, kids politics, economics, sense gratification, how to conquer over your enemies by Sam, Dam, Danda, Bhed, like that. So Hiranyakashipu sent Prahlad Maharaj to that school, and after some time, Hiranyakashipu, he called Prahlad. Prahlad was bathed and dressed very nicely by Kayadu. And Hiranyakashipu, he showed a lot of affection to his son. Even demons have so much affection for their son. So Prahlad Maharaj came and he sat Prahlad Maharaj on his lap. And he affectionately patted him. And he smelled his head. With tears in his eyes, Hiranyakashipu asked Prahlad, Prahlad, you have been in school for so many days. What is the best thing that you have learned in school? Hiranyakashipu is asking. So Prahlad Maharaj, he says this verse, Tat sadhu manya suravarya dehinam sada samudvigna dhiyam sadgrahat hitvatma patam griyandhakupam vanam gatoya dharim ashayet. So Prahlad Maharaj says, he is telling his father, he's calling his father as Asura Varya, best of the demons. Oh, best of the demons, what I have learned from my spiritual master is that one who has accepted this temporary household life and temporary material body is certainly embarrassed by anxiety. And his position is that like of a man who has fallen in well which has no water. You should immediately give up this position and you should go to Vrindavan forest and you should take shelter of Hari. This is what Prahlad is saying to his father Hiranyakashipu, and Hiranyakashipu was shocked. What? Take shelter of Hari? Sandai and Amarka, what are you teaching my son? Is this what you're teaching? And they're saying, no, we never taught any of this to Prahlad Maharaj. So then Hiranyakashipu says, maybe some Vaishnav devotees are coming in the school and teaching him. They're coming in disguise. So you take him back to school and you teach him again the demoniac principles. Make sure no devotees enter the school. So So then Sanda Marka, took Prahlad Maharaj back to school, and with very affectionate words, very mildly, they are asking Prahlad, where have you learned all these things from? We have not taught you all this. And is your intelligence been spoiled by you or by our enemies? So then Prahlad Maharaj, he started giving them a lecture on friends and enemies. He's saying that it is by illusory Maya that we make a distinction between friends and enemies. When somebody has gotten the mercy of Krishna, he becomes a Pandit. He sees Pandita Samadarshana. He sees everybody equally. That there is no difference between me and you. We are all servants of God. Right? And by the way, he says, I am automatically attracted to Vishnu. Just like how iron is automatically attracted to magnet, I am automatically attracted to Vishnu. Krishna has all good qualities. He's all perfect. He has all qualities in full. He's the most beautiful, most intelligent, most famous, he's the richest, he's the strongest. He has all good qualities that we're looking for in another person when we want to have a relationship. But why are we not getting attracted to Krishna? Why? Because we are like that rusted iron. When the iron is rusted, it is not attracted to magnet. We have the rust of lust. We have the rust of all the narthas, lust, anger, greed, pride, illusion, covering our heart. And we are attracted to so many other things in this world. That's why we're not getting attracted to Krishna. So Prahlad Maharaj, how did he get attracted to Krishna? Because he heard about Krishna for so long, 36,000 years from Narad Muni. Same thing happened with Rukmani. Rukmani was a little girl and she had not seen Krishna, but she used to hear from all the sages who were visiting her father's Bhishmak's palace. She was hearing about all the beautiful form of Krishna, his qualities, his pastimes. And so she became attracted to Krishna and wanted Krishna as her husband. So this is the process to have attraction towards Krishna, is to hear about Krishna first. And then when we hear about Krishna, we should, contemplate, we should meditate on that. So Sanda Marka, they started chastising Prahlad Maharaj, and they again started teaching him all demoniac things. And again, after some time, they brought Prahlad Maharaj back in front of Hiranyakashipu. And Hiranyakashipu again, he sat Prahlad on his lap and started asking him this question. Please repeat to me, what is the best of the knowledge that you have acquired from your teachers, Prahlad, that you have been studying in the school for so long? So now Prahlad Maharaj says this verse. Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Padasevanam Archanam Vandanam Dasyam Sakhyam Atma Nivedanam Iti Pumsarpada Vishnu Bhaktes Channavalakshana Kriyatam Bhagavate Adha Tanmanyaditam Uttamam. So here Prahlad Maharaj is talking about the 9 processes of devotional service that I have learned from my teachers. This is the best of knowledge. These 9 processes of devotional service, hearing about Krishna, chanting his names, always remembering him, serving his lotus feet, archanam, doing deity worship, vandanam, offering him prayers, dasyam, being a servant of Krishna, sakhyam, being a friend of Krishna, and atma nivedanam, giving our body, our mind, our words, all to Krishna. And whoever has dedicated his life to these 9 processes of devotional service, I consider him to be the most learned. He is the most knowledgeable. So Hiranyakashipu, he lost his cool because he heard the name of his enemy, Vishnu. He said Vishnu Smaranam. So then again he's asking, Sanda Marka, what are you teaching my son? This worship to Vishnu? And Sanda Marka like, no, this is not what we have taught him. So then Hiranyakashipu asked Prahlad Maharaj, you rascal, most fallen of our family, if you have not learned this from your teachers, where have you gotten this knowledge from? And then Prahlad Maharaj, he says another verse, Matirna Krishne Parata Svatova Mitho Vipatyate Graha Vratanam Adantako Bhirvishitam Tamishram Puna Charvita Charvananam. He's telling his Father, this Krishna consciousness cannot be arisen in you, either by your own endeavor or by others' instructions, because your senses are uncontrolled, because you're too much engaged in sense gratification. That's why you will go to hell, and you will repeatedly chew, which has already been chewed. Na te vidhu swartha gatim hi Vishnu durasaya ye bahirartha manina andhayatha nirupaniya manas tepi shatantriya murdam nibadha. He's saying that, Father, you do not know your real self-interest is Lord Vishnu. You are like a blind leader and you have blind followers and you will all fall into a ditch. But if you want to become Krishna conscious, then I have a way for you. And he says this verse, Naisham matista vadurukramangrim sparshate anarthapagamo yadartha mayasham padrajo abhishekam nishkinchananam navrinita yavat. He's saying that if you want to become Krishna conscious, you should find a pure devotee. You should take shelter of his lotus feet. You should take the dust from his lotus feet and do an abhishek of that dust. In that way you will become Krishna conscious. Hiranyakashipu, after hearing all of this, he thought that it's too much. Prahlad is out of control now. And he threw Prahlad off his lap. He threw Prahlad Maharaj off his lap. And he told all his demons, soldiers, you kill him. Prahlad has become incorrigible. You kill him. So then, all these asuras, they started to kill Prahlad in so many different ways. They tried to kill Prahlad. They were striking his body with the tridents. They were throwing him in the pit of snakes, putting him in fire, putting him in freezing condition, throwing him at the feet of the elephants, throwing him from the mountain tops, like that. So many ways they tried to kill Prahlad Maharaj, but nothing was working. And nowhere in Bhagavatam we see that Prahlad Maharaj is praying, oh Lord, please protect me. He's depending on Krishna for protection. Rakhe Krishna mare Krishna rakhe ke. If Krishna wants to protect me, then who can kill me? And if Krishna wants to kill me, then who can protect me? And never he thought that let me stop worshipping Lord Vishnu and all the problems in my life will be solved. Never such a thought came to him. So we see that Hiranyakashipu, he had everything of the world. He had everything in the world. But just his son would not follow his orders, right? And that was giving him a lot of grief. And Hiranyakashipu was depressed. We might have so many things, but in our life, there's one thing that we don't have and we focus on it and we become depressed. So like that, Hiranyakashipu was depressed, and then Sanda Marka came and they said that, oh, don't worry, right now Prahlad is young, and when he grows up, he will become a good demon. You give him some time, we will teach him again, we'll take him back to school and we'll teach him again. So then Sanda and Marka, they brought him again back to school, teaching him all demoniac principles. But then one time, his teachers, Sanda and Marka, they went for a lunch break. And then behind Prahlad Maharaj and all his demoniac schoolmates, they were there. And all his demon friends of Prahlad, they were saying, oh Prahlad, you come and play with us. And Prahlad is saying, oh, don't waste your time playing. Your human life is very precious. He says human life is very rare. After so many births and millions of different species, finally you've gotten this human birth, which is very rare. And it is very valuable, because in this human life, even a slight bit of devotional service that you do, you will get all perfection. So it is rare, it is valuable, and it is very temporary. It can be lost at any time. So don't waste time. From the very childhood, Kaumara stage, 5 years of age, you should practice devotional service. And you should not endeavor for happiness. This endeavoring for happiness is like a mirage in the desert. But to render service to the lotus feet of Govinda and to see him everywhere should be the goal of life. And this should be the only goal of life. To render service to the lotus feet of Govinda and to see him everywhere, he says, is the goal of life. And that you should be endeavoring for that. So, you see, not only Prahlad Maharaj, he's becoming a devotee, but he's turning others into devotees. So that was too much for Hiranyakashipu to handle. Hiranyakashipu took out his sword and he said to Prahlad, Prahlad, you're speaking so boldly. Where are you getting all this power from to speak so boldly? Everybody is afraid of me. When I turn my eyebrows, the demigods, they fear of me. How are you so bold? Where are you getting all this strength from to speak so boldly? And then Prahlad says, well, my strength is coming from the same place as your strength is coming from. The source of all strength is Lord Vishnu. Oh Father, please give up your enmity to Lord Vishnu. Other than your misguided mind, you have no enemy. So Hiranyakashipu said, I will cut off your head today and I will see if Vishnu comes to protect you. Where is your Vishnu? Where is your Vishnu? Is he in this pillar? So Prahlad says, yes, my Lord is everywhere. He's also in this pillar. So Hiranyakashipu, he smashed the pillar with his sword, and out of the pillar came a very thunderous noise. The form that came out was very fearsome and huge. It was touching the sky. His eyes were like that of a blazing sun. His top was that of a lion. His bottom was that of a human being. His tongue was like that of a sword. His teeth were very deadly. His nostrils and his mouth were like caves of the mountain. Nrsimhadev, he appeared actually in noontime, but then he was playing with Hiranyakashipu like how a cat plays with the mouse. But then, when the twilight time came, evening time, which was neither day nor night, in the doorway of the hall, assembly hall, which was neither inside the house nor outside the house, on his lap, which was neither in the air nor on the ground, with his nails, which are neither living nor dead, Hiranyakashipu's body was torn apart by Nrsimhadev. And in that way, Hiranyakashipu was, Nrsimhadev, he proved true the words of his devotees. Satyam vidhatum nija bhratya bhashitam vyaptim cha bhuteshvakhileshva chatmana adrashyata tatputa rupam utvahan sthambe savayam na mrigam na manusham. This verse says that to prove true the words of his devotees, Lord took the form of Nrsimhadev and he killed Hiranyakashipu. So there are several devotees' words that were proven true when Lord took this form of Nrsimhadev. Who are these devotees? Well, first of all, 4 Kumaras. The 4 Kumaras, they had predicted the killing of Hiranyakashipu when Jay and Vijay were cursed by the 4 Kumaras. That's one. Secondly was Narad Muni. Narad Muni had given assurance to Kayadu that your son will always remain safe. Right? So Narad Muni's words were held true. Third is Brahmaji. Brahmaji had given benedictions to Hiranyakashipu. You will not be killed inside the house, outside the house by any weapon or like all of that. So all of those words of Brahmaji were held intact with the Lord taking the form as Nrsimhadev. And finally, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna promises Kaunteya pratijani na me bhaktya pranashati. Arjuna, you declare it boldly that my devotee will never perish. So Krishna's promise and coming through Arjuna is also held intact, that my devotee is always protected. So like that, Krishna proves true the words of his devotees. Actually, those devotees who are fully surrendered to Krishna, who are always chanting the name of Krishna, whatever they speak from their tongue, it comes true. Krishna speaks through the mouth of a pure devotee. And those devotees, they always speak words that are truthful, that are always beneficial for others, that are not agitating, that are pleasing to others. And they always quote from the scriptures. And these devotees, they speak the right things at the right time, and Krishna makes sure that whatever his devotee has spoken comes true. And whatever the devotee desires comes true. So one time Srila Prabhupada was passing through a tract of land in Vrindavan, and he said, oh, this land is so nice. Let there be a temple here. He said, let there be a temple here. And now we have the Krishna Balram temple in Vrindavan. So Prabhupada writes in the purport in Canto 10 that Krishna fulfills the desires of his devotees. Also, we have this pastime of Gopal Bhatt. Gopal Bhatt, he was worshipping his 12 Shaligram Shilas. It was the day of Nrsimha Chaturdasi. So that, like today, was the day of Nrsimha Chaturdasi when a big businessman came and gave him valuable clothing and jewelry for his deities. Now, Gopal Bhatt was thinking, I cannot decorate my shaligrams with these clothes. So he was thinking, oh, the Lord came as in the Nrsimha form, coming out of the pillar for his devotee, Prahlad Maharaj. So the Lord can come out of my shaligrams also in his threefold bending form. Wish, oh Lord, you please come in your threefold bending form so I can decorate you with these clothes and this jewelry. So next day itself, one of his shilas, the Damodar Shila, got converted into the threefold bending form of Radha Raman. So Radha Raman's appearance day is one day after Nrsimha Chaturdasi. So we can see that, Krishna hears the prayers of the pure devotees. So if a pure devotee prays for us and desires our liberation, if we, serve the pure devotees and from their heart some blessings come for us, then that will help in our advancement in Krishna consciousness, because Krishna hears the prayers of the pure devotees. So now Nrsimhadev, he killed Hiranyakashipu and he wore the intestine, his intestine as garland. And he was still very, angry after killing Hiranyakashipu. So all these demigods, they're praying to Nrsimhadev. Brahmaji is sending Lakshmi, please pacify Nrsimhadev, and she's not able to do that. So finally, Brahmaji sends Prahlad Maharaj to pacify Nrsimhadev. Prahlad Maharaj, he fell down at the feet of Nrsimha Dev and he started offering him prayers. And Nrsimha Devi actually took Prahlad Maharaj on his lap and started licking him like a lion will lick the cub. And he put his hand on Prahlad's head, and automatically Prahlad got all Brahma Gyan. All spiritual knowledge was revealed in the heart of Prahlad Maharaj. All his contaminations in his heart was removed as Nrsimha Dev placed his head on Prahlad Maharaj. So Prabhupada writes or says in his lecture that we can get the same benefit as Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad got the touch of Nrsimha Dev. We also touch Krishna with our tongue. When we chant the Hare Krishna mantra, all spiritual knowledge from all the Shastras will be revealed to us in our heart, and all the contaminations in the heart will go away. So Prahlad Maharaj, he started speaking prayers to Nrsimha Dev. Now Nrsimha Dev, he tells Prahlad Maharaj, you ask for anything, I'll give you a blank check. Ask for any boon that you want. So then Prahlad Maharaj is saying that, oh Lord, please don't tempt me with these illusions. I am very much afraid of material situations, material conditions. I am not attracted by any of these opulences or material enjoyment. I have seen that my father, he had it all opulences, all material in sense gratification, he had it all, but it was all vanquished in one moment. As powerful time, you destroy everything. So I don't want anything from you, and I'm not a varnik. I'm not a businessman who wants something in return of my service to you. And all I want is, I request you to place me in touch with a pure devotee so I can serve him like a menial servant. And he's saying that I want service to Narad Muni, because he remembers that because of Narad Muni, he's seeing the Lord face to face. He's grateful. We should be grateful to any devotee who has helped us in our path of Krishna consciousness. So Prahlad Maharaj, he never forgot Narad Muni. He's saying that let me serve Narad Muni as a menial servant. And if at all you want to bestow a benediction upon me, I pray that you remove all material desires from the core of my heart. And I beg you to forgive my father, Hiranyakashipu. He was committing so many offenses towards you, but I wish that you forgive him. And Nrsimha Dev says, oh Prahlad, because you are a devotee, you are a pure devotee, all your forefathers, your 21 generations have been liberated because you have come in their family. So if we become a pure devotee, all our family members, relatives will get benefited. If we love our family members, our parents, then the best thing that we can do for them is to ourselves become a pure devotee. So we will conclude by talking about what are the qualities in Prahlad Maharaj that attracted Nrsimha Dev, that made him so dear to Nrsimha Dev. We'll focus on three qualities: his tolerance, his compassion, and his dependence on Lord's protection. So Prahlad Maharaj, he tolerated all the miseries that were inflicted on him by his father. And never in Bhagavatam we hear that Prahlad Maharaj is saying, oh Lord, I am remembering you so much. Why are you giving me so much trouble? Why do bad things happen to good people? And he's also not telling his father, you are doing this to a devotee, wait and watch what the Lord does to you. He's not saying like that. He's showing exceptional tolerance. Like Haridas Thakur. We hear the pastime of Haridas Thakur in Chaitanya Leela, where Haridas Thakur was beaten in 22 marketplaces by the Muslims. And while he was being beaten, he was praying to the Lord. Oh Lord, please forgive them, for they don't know what they're doing. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had come there with his Sudarshan Chakra, right? But his Sudarshan Chakra was not leaving his hand because Haridas Thakur was praying. So then what did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu do? He covered his own body on Haridas Thakur and took the beatings on his back. So who is this Haridas Thakur? He is Prahlad Maharaj himself. Prahlad Maharaj has come as Haridas Thakur in Kali Yuga. So tolerance means that we don't let our external situation impact our sadhana, our bhakti. Our faith on Krishna should not, shake with all the external difficulties that we are facing. So one time a devotee came to Radha Govind Maharaj and said, oh Maharaj, I have so much trouble in my life, I cannot chant the holy name. And Maharaj says, do you have trouble in your life more than Prahlad Maharaj? Are you saying that you have more difficulties than Prahlad Maharaj? And he says, no, not like Prahlad Maharaj. So Maharaj says, well, if Prahlad Maharaj can chant the holy name against all odds, then why can't you? Don't tell Nrsimha Dev how big your problem is. Tell your problem how great our Nrsimha Dev is. Right? So that is tolerance. And the second quality is compassion. Now in Chaitanya Leela, there is a devotee called Vasudev Dutt. Vasudev Dutt, he prays to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, please take away all sinful reactions from all the people of the world and give it to me. Let me suffer in hell for millions of lifetimes, but let everybody else go back home, back to Godhead. Such a big prayer. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's heart melts hearing this, and he says, it's not surprising that you are, saying this prayer, because you are Prahlad, you are Prahlad Maharaj. You are the incarnation of Prahlad Maharaj. So Prahlad Maharaj also incarnated as Vasudev Dutt in Chaitanya Leela. So Prahlad Maharaj's mood is indicated by two verses that Prahlad Maharaj speaks in the 9th chapter. In his prayers to Nrsimha Dev, Prahlad Maharaj is speaking. Nevo dvije para duratya vaitaranyas twadvirya gaina mahamritam magna chitta soche tato vimukha chetasa indriyartha maya sukhaya bharam udvatod vimodan. So here Prahlad Maharaj is praying that, oh Lord, I am not at all concerned about crossing this ocean of birth and death, because wherever I stay, I am always absorbed in thoughts of you. But I am concerned about these poor fools and rascals, these materialists who are making elaborate plans for material sense enjoyment. They're going to suffer birth after birth. So I'm concerned about them, and I want to bring them back to the shelter of your lotus feet. And then he says, the second verse, Prayana devo manyosu mukti kama monam charanti vijanena pararthanishtaha naitan vihaya kripanami moksha eko nanyam tadasya sharanam brahmato nupashe. And he says that I have seen that there are many saintly sadhus and devotees who are interested only in their own deliverance. And so, not caring for the big cities and towns, they go to the Himalayas to do austerities and do some vows of silence. But as for me, I don't want to be delivered alone, leaving aside these fools and rascals. I have understood that without Krishna consciousness, without taking shelter of your lotus feet, one cannot be happy. So I want to bring them all back to the shelter of your lotus feet. So I don't want to be delivered alone, he says. So this is the exact mood of Srila Prabhupada. Now Srila Prabhupada, he was very peaceful in his Radha Damodar temple in India and Vrindavan. He was chanting the holy name, visiting temples, hearing Bhagavatam. He was very peaceful. He was in a very comfortable situation, but actually he was suffering. Seeing the suffering of the world, not having Krishna conscious, he was suffering. So that's why he took that bold step at the age of 70 years to come to America, an unknown place. He didn't know anyone over here, through a cargo ship. So many days he was in that ship, and he suffered through so many heart attacks. He only had 40 rupees in his pockets, and he stayed among hippies in America. Such a bold step, fearless. Prabhupada was fearless, just like Prahlad Maharaj. And he had this mood of compassion like Prahlad Maharaj. And this is the mode of ISKCON as well, the preaching mode, where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Yare dekho tare kaho Krishna upadesh, hamara aage guru hai tara desh. Everybody should become a guru, and whoever you meet, you should tell them about Krishna, because everybody is suffering without having Krishna consciousness. So now the third quality that Prahlad Maharaj showed was that of dependence on Krishna for protection. Prahlad Maharaj, in his prayers, he has one prayer where he says, Balasya neho sharanam pitro narsimha nartasya chagadamodanmati majitona taptasya tat pratividirya ihancha sheshtas tavat vibhotanubritam tvadupekshitanam. So in this verse, Prahlad Maharaj is saying that unless Krishna sanctions one to be protected, no one can protect him. And he gives 3 examples. Like parents can be present, but they may not able to protect their child, and the child may die in front of the parents. Or parents who are supposed to be the rakshak, protector, they may become the bhakshak, destroyer. Just like in this case, Prahlad Maharaj, his father is trying to kill him. Father is supposed to be the protector, but he is trying to kill his child. And also parents are trying to kill their child in the womb. They are trying to do abortions. So that's first example he says. And the second example he says that a doctor and a medicine cannot relieve the suffering of the patient. You can have millions of dollars in your bank account and you say to the doctor, you take all this money and you relieve me of all this suffering, this pain from my body. And maybe you increase, my lifespan by one more moment, you increase. And the doctor will say, sorry, I cannot do that. Unless Krishna sanctions that, nobody, doctors and medicine will not work. And the third example he uses was, he says in this verses, the boat on the water cannot save a drowning man. And we have the example of Titanic. Now Titanic, he was such an engineering genius with all the technology on board, expert guidance. It sank in its first voyage across Atlantic. It sank with thousands of people lost their lives. So that's how we know that Krishna is the only protector. Now Prabhupada, he gives a definition of humility. He says that humility means that when one is convinced without any doubt that only Krishna can protect me, not my education, not my family, not my fame, not my gun, not my insurance, nothing can protect me except for mercy of Krishna. When we have this conviction, then we are humble. So we should chant the holy name in this mood. The holy name will save me. Nothing, at one time in my life, there would be a situation when nobody can save me. And we have the example of Draupadi. Draupadi was in the Kuru Sabha and the Shasana was trying to strip her naked and her 5 powerful husbands were right there. Bhishma, Pitama, Dronacharya, so many powerful kings were there, but nobody could help her. Then she surrendered to Krishna. Only Krishna can protect me. We also have the example of Gajendra. Gajendra was attacked by the crocodile and his family members tried to help him, but eventually they went away. Finally, Gajendra surrendered to Krishna, reciting prayers to Krishna, please help me. And Vishnu, he was running very fast, coming to save Gajendra. He didn't even wait for Garuda. So we see that, if we have this conviction, I have no other shelter in this world. Only Krishna can save me. Sarva dharman paritajya mam ekam sharanam vrajya. Now in Kali Yuga, holy name is not different from Krishna. So we can replace mam with nam. Sarva dharman paritajya nam ekam sharanam vrajya. I just have to take shelter of the holy name and Krishna will protect me. In any situation that I have, Krishna will protect me. So, if we have the tolerance of Prahlad Maharaj, the compassionate spirit of Prahlad Maharaj, and the dependence on Krishna for our protection, then the Lord is ready to break the stamba to appear in our lives. Now, this stamba means pillar. It also means pride. Krishna will come to break our pride. Krishna came to break the pride of Hiranyakashipu. He was very proud. I have all the powers in the world. Who can do anything to me? We are also proud. So if we are not humble, we will be humbled. When Krishna performs an operation, a surgery, he does not use anesthesia and it hurts. So we should become humble and in all humility, Pranadapi sunechinna, tarorapi sehishna, manina mandena kirtanya sadhari. In all humility, in all tolerance, then we can chant the holy name of Krishna all the time. And if we chant the holy name of Krishna all the time, we will remember him all the time. We can see him everywhere. Just like Prahlad Maharaj was seeing Krishna everywhere. He's everywhere, even in the pillar. We can see Krishna everywhere if we are chanting in this mood. And Prabhupada, somebody asked Prabhupada and said, what do you feel when you chant? He says, I feel no fear. So we will become fearless like Prahlad Maharaj. Rakhe Krishna mare Krishna rakhe ke. We will become fearless like Prahlad Maharaj if we chant the holy name of Krishna in a humble mood. So on this day of Nrsimha Chaturdasi, we can pray to Lord Nrisimha Dev, please remove all material desires from the core of my heart. Make me fearless like Prahlad Maharaj and make me a humble servant of his devotees. So thank you everyone.